Can you rent a house that is in foreclosure? All right, guys, we're gonna talk all about this. I appreciate the question. If you've got a question like that, type it in the comments and I'll put a video together just like this one. But while I do, we're gonna talk all about if you can rent a house that's in foreclosure. I'm gonna give you a quick tour of the office because in my live cast this week, I had somebody say, we really want a tour of the office, Ryan. So I'm also sporting my new Flippin' Legends shirt. If you want to get one of these, join our live cast every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, guys, so can you rent a house that's in foreclosure? Well, the reality is you can do anything. The question is it legal or is it not legal? And I'm not an attorney, but what I can tell you is most mortgages have what's called an assignment of rents. And what an assignment of rents is the lender says, hey, if you rent this property and you're not paying us, you're responsible for assigning or paying us the rents, or what we can do is go to the tenant and say, tenant, you need to now pay us the rents. Now, do people rent properties that are in foreclosure? Yes, they do frequently. Do those people pay the bank? Frequently, they do not. Frequently, they rent the property, they take that money. Now, they have committed and said, bank, you can have the assignment of rents. Now, so what a bank's gonna do is a bank is gonna find out who the tenant is. So they're gonna send a letter and say, stop paying rents to the owner, pay the rents to us because we have a legal right to those, which is called an assignment of rents. Now, does every bank do this? No. Most banks just say, hey, this is just kind of the cost of doing business. We're not gonna deal with it. Now, they might send a simple letter or anything else like that. Is it against the law? Not really. It's really against your commitments that you made to your lender, and your lender can then enforce those, and the provisions they have to enforce those covenants are typically just foreclosing on the property or taking that property back. So typically in most mortgages, when you are buying it, you're signing this assignment of rents that tells the lender, hey, if I ever rent the property and I'm not current on my rent, you can take the rent, I'm not current on my payments, you can take the rental amount and apply that to the mortgage. And that's the other thing you've got to take in consideration is the bank just can't steal that money. That money needs to be applied to the outstanding balance. And so if you're in a foreclosure situation, there's a lot of fees that are racking up here, right? You're gonna have attorney fees, you're gonna have late fees, you're gonna have interest, and you're gonna have the amount, the outstanding balance that's all due, plus any payments that you've missed. So if the bank did get with your tenant, and then the tenant did pay the bank directly, whatever that is paid is gonna be going towards what is outstanding on your loan, the then balance. Now I can tell you though, if you get into a foreclosure situation, that balance goes up so fast because of the late fees and attorney fees and penalties and all that type of stuff. So it goes up pretty dang fast. Now, as a matter of practice though, most people that are in a foreclosure situation or a bad situation, they're probably keeping that money and trying to pay their bills and simply just trying to get by. The bank's recourse then is to foreclose on that property, and then they can come up for what is called a default judgment. A default judgment basically means if the bank forecloses on the property and the bank loses money from how much they were supposed to get paid with fees and interest and penalties and everything else, they can go after. So let's say the bank is owed $150,000 when it's all said and done with attorney's fees and costs and everything else. But they end up selling the property after that. They pay agent fees and everything else, and they end up selling it for $130,000, but with agent fees and costs, they only end up getting $110,000. Well, there's a $40,000 deficit here. And that $40,000 deficit is what the lender can go after for what's called a default judgment, where they can come and say, hey, we lost $40,000 on this. You signed a personal guarantee, and with that personal guarantee, it gives us the right to come after you. We liquidated the asset, we've done the best job we can with that, and there's a $40,000 bill, and we can come after you for that. Some banks are gonna come after you, some banks aren't. Some banks are actually gonna sell that debt to somebody else and for pennies on the dollar. So they may sell that for $40,000 debt for $4,000 or $10,000. And then a debt collection agency could be harassing you and going after collections and everything else like that. So that's basically what's happening on that. But in the end, can you rent a house that's in foreclosure? The answer is yes. And can you collect those payments? The answer is yes. But you may have already committed that you would pay the bank if there was an assignment of rents. If it was rented and you're in default, then you have to make those payments. Now, if you paid or not, that's up to you. That's a decision you've got to make. You've committed to do that. And then the bank's recourse is to then obviously start the foreclosure process or get with the tenant and say, start paying us those rents. So that's some of the things you've got to keep in consideration. So just giving you a quick little walk around the office. I think you've been enjoying that. I certainly hope that you have. If you've enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. And if you are interested in getting a pre-foreclosure letter, this is something you send out to people that are going through the foreclosure process. I'll give you a copy of the one that I recommend. You can text me at 435-294-0433 and just text your email address, and then I'll send you an email with that pre-foreclosure letter that you can use. I've also got a video you should check out, how to stop a foreclosure. This can be really helpful in those situations. I've also got a blog, check out. I'll put it in the description below, long-term versus short-term rentals. Don't forget to subscribe if you've liked and enjoyed this content. Otherwise, make it a very profitable day, and bye for now.